Whew, what a battle that was. Please, please, can we please save Heisuke this time around? He was there to hear about the cure. Can we save him too? Is that too much to ask? Here's hoping. Okay. After our conversation, each of us scattered throughout the castle's corridors, releasing Aizu soldiers who'd been captured by the demons before we left at dawn. Good job, everybody. This music. On our way out, we were welcomed by a serene and clear sky. My skin felt pleasantly cool in the fresh air. Saito, are you okay? How are you feeling in the sun?
This is nothing.
How about you, Heisuke?
Well, nothing to worry about if I walk in the shade.
I see.
Oh, what a bright sky. Well, that takes care of the demons, which means all we gotta deal with is humans from now on, huh?
Man, he really got me thinking. What good could any of us really do to stop all of the war and bloodshed from happening?
Jeez, give it a rest, man. The answer to that question is probably too much for your little brain to compute.
The hell did you say? My brain is fine, thank you very much. And furthermore, it's my job to ask.
A way to stop the war and bloodshed, huh? I mean, you can't really get anything done on your own, could you? So you'd have to amass a lot of power. You gotta get so powerful that all your enemies say, "Look, there's no way I'm gonna win against those guys," and then boom! No one would mess with us.
Man, you really got a thick skull, don't you? You really think the world's that simple? Guess what? It's not.
What? You watch your mouth, you stupid brat!
Aw, it's good to have the trio back together. Heisuke, can we... not Heisuke. Sheesh. Hajime, can we adopt them as our sons? Would you be okay with that? Nagakora jokingly wrapped his arm around Heisuke's neck, then dug his knuckles into Heisuke's scalp.
Well, whatever's the case, the war's kicked off. Which means we've got some work to do, so we need to get over there and help our boys out. You're right.
Well, I need to meet back up with Hijikata, so I think this is where I'll have to say goodbye.
Please go and get some of that sweet, sweet fountain water, sir. And take it in a canteen with you, please.
How much I've got left in me, I couldn't tell you. But I made it this far, and I'd be a fool to stop believing.
Right on. Be careful. Just letting you know. If you die in some dumb, hilarious way, I'm telling everyone until death takes me too.
Take care, Heisuke.
Yeah! Later, guys!
Heisuke bowed curtly, then sprinted down the mountain path. His wave and smile sparkled beside the horizon.
Well, time for us to get going now too. Gotta brace ourselves for the war front. Right. But man, who would have thought that Saito'd go off and do his own thing away from Hijikata? You two were inseparable, like you were his shadow. Our last exchange was a civil one. We came to a mutual understanding. Oh, what the hell? So I had to brawl with Kondo and make a big scene before leaving the Shinsengumi, and you get off scot-free? Rub it in my face, why don't ya?
Nagakora chuckled gleefully at Saito, taking pleasure in his playful banter with a wide smile.
But good for you, man. After all that worrying about having nowhere to go, you've gone ahead and chosen who's the boss, right? But he didn't choose anyone as his boss.
Harada flashed a smug grin at Saito.
What are you implying?
Ahem. Shin is confounded, like, what? What did I miss?
Whoa! What do we have here? Is that Sayato blushing? Say, who are you really, and what have you done with the real Sayato?
Oh. After becoming flustered by Nagakora's taunt, Sayato quietly creeped his hand downwards to reach for the sword sitting on his right hip.
Hey! Watch what you're doing! You don't have to reach for your sword every time your feelings get hurt. It gets a little hard to tell if you're being serious or not the more you do it. Cut it out! Alright. As much as I enjoy spending time with all of you, we really should be going. Yeah. Although I still hope that one day all of this fighting will just stop. There's gotta be some way. For now, we'll have to settle for giving this fight everything we've got. You two take care. If you make it out the other side, let's grab a bottle of sake, shall we? Of course.
Please be safe, you guys. Farewell. Eventually, the two of them disappeared in the distance. Just like when we saw them off in Edo, the backs of Nagakora and Harada became smaller, shrinking into the horizon to wherever their path was taking them.
Ugh.
Don't you die on me now. I swear, Sayato, after all of that. Sayato, are you okay? Hey, why don't we take a minute to rest here? The sun's out after all.
But...
You've just fought in the battle of your life. For once, take some time to think for yourself.
Very well. I will do as you suggest.
Thank you. Saito found a shady spot underneath a lush tree. Nice boots, by the way. Aww, that is so cute. So cute!
I had long held the belief that emotions were nothing more than a distraction. Something that hindered one's ability to make split-second decisions. I grew afraid that I would never be able to fight alongside any of those men again.
I know. Dang. What a bod. Sorry, I'm very distracted. He looks very good in that uniform, okay? And those boots are just... Mwah. Can I get some of those boots, please? Similar to after the Battle of Tobufushimi, we were left with the difficult task of bidding our dear friends farewell.
These days will never leave me. Neither the moment spent in Kyoto, nor our triumph today. No matter how much time passes from this very moment, these days will be burned in my mind for eternity.
Same here, Saito. I'd be lying if I said it didn't sadden me to think that I may never see everyone from the Shinsengumi again, but it was inevitable that all of our paths would diverge someday. What mattered most was that our futures were determined by our own will. Our only choice was to live honestly and with conviction. There was no chance to look back or falter, or give in to any urge to let ourselves become consumed by our doubts. We must be strong. Aw, so cute. Alright, and then, okay. So we're heading into the epilogue. We're gonna see what these two goobers ended up doing with themselves. That was really awesome. What a great story all that was. I'm glad the whole Onigiri thing paid off in the end. That was very satisfying. Yeah, I'm trying to just remember everything that happened. It's interesting that, like, Dad just completely lost it this time around. There was no final conciliation kind of thing with Chizuru. She didn't even ask what happened. She didn't think about him at all. Like, the fact that, okay, Heisuke fought my dad. Heisuke came out alive. Didn't see Dad again. Dad must be dead. Like, there's just no thought about Dad whatsoever, which is very interesting. I take it Shiranui is also dead, which means Amagiri is the only one that survived out of the demons, which is crazy. I really liked, like, even though Kazuma creating a Fury army is very out of character for him, I did like his fight here with Saito more than his fight with Toshi. Even though Kazuma had a more satisfying ending because he had a one-on-one battle with someone he truly respected in the end. I liked that this was a true, like, battle to the death, and there was a lot on the line. And it took literally 4 people to take him down in the end. I like that we had the Shimabara trio come in to save the day. Amagiri giving Saito a breather. Like, all of that was just great. So even though Kazuma had a worse end, I like that he was so powerful that it took all of that effort to actually put him down in the end. My poor boy, my poor demon boy, I do love him, and I'm sad to see him die. But I was like, wow, he's really strong. Good grief. Shows you how strong Toshi is, too. But yeah, anyway, I loved all of that. And Sister Brother was a goner. Again. And I like that we had some Soji time. Even though we never went and visited Soji, Hajime thought about him quite often. And that's a beautiful friendship story right there. But let's see what the epilogue has in store for us. Saito and I found ourselves in a land to the northeast, known as Ezo. War continued to ravage the lives scattered across the land. The stench of blood was thick in the air. June 18th, 1869. Only when the shogun had offered his terms of unconditional surrender did the bloodshed cease. Ahem. Once the chaos had subsided, word reached us of Nagakura's return to Edo. Given his unrelenting dedication to the art of the sword, I wouldn't be surprised to hear if he'd spent every day since arriving in Edo honing his skill. Ooh, the beach. Harada, who had originally traveled beside Nagakura during the war, supposedly left the country, making his way to a faraway place known as Manchuria. Really? For some reason, the image of Harada gallivanting on top of a large stallion across a meadow came to mind. Whoa! Hold on there, Chizuru. Rear in your horses, girl. He's a couple of routes away still. Okita, who had been fighting his illness in Edo, never recovered from his disease and passed away. Oh no, our first Soji death. I mean, you know, outside of his bad endings. My boy. Hijikata, whose travels took him from Sendai to Ezo, fought bravely in resistance to the Imperial Army until his dying breath in battle in Hakodate. We had no bloody kiss for him this time. Heisuke, I'd heard, gave his life fighting alongside Hijikata. Aw, man. Death, death, death. Heisuke had accomplished what he'd hoped for. His loyalty to Hijikata gave him the opportunity to witness how the myth of the Shinsengumi ended. Soma ended up surrendering himself to the Imperial Army as the last standing chief of the Shinsengumi. As for Nomura, we had discovered that he met his end in the Battle of Miyako Bay. A naval battle in which shogunate forces sought to commandeer ships from Imperial troops anchored in Miyako Bay. It was a failed attempt. As a punishment for putting up a resistance to the Imperial Army, the Aizu domain had their territories revoked, and they moved to Tanami in the far north. The region in which the Aizu domain conducted the majority of its operations. Currently, it is known as the Shimokita Peninsula in the Aomori Prefecture. Frigid temperatures made Tanami a wasteland. The dry, cracked earth made trees and fauna a rare sight. The Aizu were subject to a plight unlike anything they'd ever seen, left to survive in the harshest of conditions. To the victor go the spoils. One day out of the blue, a message for Saito came from the Aizu. Although it hadn't been the most colorful of proposals, they invited Saito to live with them in amnesty. Saito, of course, accepted. Naturally, it meant that I was moving to Tonami too, alongside Saito. After several months. Okay, so no cherry blossoms for us. Where's Saito? He should have come back inside of our home by now, but he was nowhere to be found. If I remembered, he dressed lightly as well. It may be better for me to search for him. I wrapped myself with a thick coat and made my way through a blanket of fresh snow before I'd found Saito. Hoping he hadn't frozen to death, I hollered out to him. Saito! However, Saito showed no reaction. He continued to stare vacantly into the distance. Was it because I was far away? He's just learned to ignore us by now. I raised my knees high as I took large steps through the thick wash of snow, slowly making my way to Saito. Big mood. Saito, what are you doing here? Look at yourself! You hardly have anything warm on. Saito, however, continued to ignore me. Saito? Why don't you answer me? You can hear me, can't you? He was only arm's length away from me. And still he refused to turn around. Saito? What's gotten over you? I stomped around his side to look him in the eye, but he merely averted his gaze. What's going on? After stopping to think for a second, I finally thought of the reason why he may have been ignoring me. Yes! He refuses to acknowledge her unless she says his first name. That's my bean. Oh, I love it. That's great. Hajime! There! Can you answer me now? After calling him by his first name, the glimmer of his blue eyes finally came into view.
You seem to have forgotten your promise to refer to me by my other name.
Well, sorry. Force of habit. I've been calling you Saito for so long I couldn't help it. Anyways, what are you doing out here? You must be freezing.
I had guessed that if I were to wait here, eventually you would come looking for me.
So, you were waiting for me? But if you had just come straight home, you would have found me.
I know that, of course.
Then why are you waiting for me here? I asked him indignantly, but Hajime hadn't answered me. Did you really leave home without bringing something warmer to wear again? Your shoulders might be cold as ice.
The cold has no effect on me.
But the temperature is below freezing. Let's hurry home. We can warm our bodies back up. I beckoned Hajime to come with me back to our house, but he was rooted. What are you doing, you silly?
Wait. If we just wait, we will see it.
See it? See what?
You will see. Just wait a moment longer.
Huh? What Saito was referring to was completely beyond me, so I stood next to him shivering in my cloak.
It's coming.
His head was turned upwards. And then... How did you know it was going to snow? Small white flakes of snow began to flutter down lazily from the sky. Oh, snow. Is this what you wanted to show me, Hajime?
I wanted to watch the snow fall with you.
After another moment, the white flakes began to descend in greater numbers, falling calmly on our heads. Aww, that is so cute! I love that you're still wearing your Western uniform, even though everything's over. You're just like, I like how it makes me look, so I'm just gonna keep wearing it. Oh, her hair is so sweet looking. She looks like a little wifey. It's beautiful. Ever since we had moved to Tanami, snow had become a sight with which we were very familiar. But even so, watching the snowflakes float tenderly from above without a sound was a gorgeous, ephemeral experience, both heavenly and fleeting at once. So mesmerizing, it felt as though time suspended.
I knew you'd say that.
Hajime stared into the sky with me, letting a little murmur slip from out of his lips. Even as we entered a new age known as the Meiji era, it did little to halt the tide of strife still festering about. Over 300 domains were scattered throughout our country. Once institutions, now history. With that, Japan, as we knew it henceforth, was born. Daimyos were stripped of their power and property, which also meant no stipends for mercenaries or ronin. In fact, the government began to implement a kind of conscription service similar to the West that encouraged all civilians to serve in one large unified army. Movements to ban the carrying of swords began to gather steam as well, citing the barbarism that had plagued our country for so long. Maybe that time will come soon. A time when the world will no longer need warriors.
It doesn't matter how many men seek to change the world. Warriors will always exist. Even if they take away our right to carry a sword, it does not make anyone any less of a warrior. As long as your actions ring true to what your heart tells you, a man is capable of being a warrior, no matter the age or family into which you were born.
That was beautiful. That was really beautiful, Hajime. After drinking the pure water in Mutsu and our later move to Tonami, Hajime had no longer been afflicted by the curse of bloodlust. Nice. However, after harnessing his fury powers again and again in battle, Hajime's lifespan was shortened. We had no way of knowing how much time he had left. Regardless, it gave us the resolve to take on every challenge life had to offer us with confidence. Our futures were in our hands, and we looked ahead. At last, we could live in peace and harmony. Hajime, let's be together forever. Even when the spring comes and melts the snow, and then the summer afterwards, and then the next winter too. Forever.
Yeah.
Hajime's voice trailed off, leaving with the icy wind as the snowfall became heavy on our shoulders. Guys, get out of the snow. You're gonna get buried. That was adorable. I mean, I don't know how else you can just explain this route other than it was just purely adorable. And adorkable, because they're both dorks. You're cold as Aizu! What a great achievement to get. So silly. Oh, that was wonderful. That actually, him ignoring her till she called him by his first name was something I had forgotten about in Toshi's route. That was one thing I was kind of sad of in his route as well. Even at the end, she continued to call him Hijikata. And I was really hoping she would start calling him Toshi, but that never happened. Because we started calling Soji Soji, and Hajime was very definite about us calling him Hajime. So that's interesting. I mean, it is hard though to get up your courage to call Toshi Toshi, so I will let it slide, but it's interesting. Well, that was the good ending for Hajime Saito. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely did. I'm glad these two goobers went and got the water of life. And even though they're living in a wasteland, they seem pretty happy together. So that was good. I really loved that a lot. But now that we are done the good ending, it's time to get on to some not so good endings. So if you want to join me for the unrequited love ending next time, I hope I shall see you there, guys. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I will see you later.